This story I must tell. I went out on the snow, and on my back I fell.
By chance that very day, I thought I'd take a ride. I stopped, and soon Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side.
Not only is he a blogger, the guest host for Rush Limbaugh, a book author, and a man about town, but he also has his 4th annual Yuletide CD. Mark Steyn, thanks for being with us.
Hey, great to be with you, Michael.
You are a bold man.
You played the bit where it got a bit peppier. When we go into the full tempo blast, the jingle bells there.
Now, are you trained in music, or is this something you wanted to do?
No, I know a bit about music. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd make my living doing nice arrangements of The Way You Look Tonight in some piano bar somewhere.
What are you, Michael Bublé? Write your own stuff, Steyn. Stop lifting everyone else's. That's not the greatest form of flattery. It's called plagiarism.
Yeah, no, I thought Jingle Bells. I thought it's edgy, it's different. It's one-horse open sleigh. I think it's something young people will go for. You know, it's the whole kind of one-horse open sleigh concept is kind of new, different, edgy, and urban, transgressive.
Urban? I think not. Not with your accent. The Hillsdale Collegian says even immigrants like Mark Steyn have recorded Christmas albums because he didn't want to give the impression that he's not assimilating or anything. Are you fully assimilated, Steyn?
I think so. I think there's nothing more American than making a Christmas album, Mike. I mean, there's the Dick Cheney Christmas album. There's the Donald Rumsfeld Christmas album. There's got to be the Michael Berry Christmas album out there.
There should be. And somewhere, when Elvis Presley dies, he'll turn over in his grave when he hears all this nonsense.
Yeah. I think the thing about, I mean, the way I look at you, and you're no one to complain about this because you've got your little musical side too.
Oh yes, I do. But the difference between mine and yours is you have talent.
I'm not sure a lot of people would agree with you. You know, I was put on trial for hate crimes in Canada, and a couple of months after I was acquitted, I released my first Christmas CD, which was Marshmallow World, and somebody said that's the hate crime they should have put him on trial for. So
I think you and OJ should do a duet. Free at last, free at last. It would be a beautiful thing indeed.
I'm not ready. There's almost anyone else from the cast of Naked Gun 2.5 I would do a Christmas duet with, but I'm not ready to do it.
I don't think any of them are still alive, are they?
No, actually, there's been quite an attrition. Leslie Nielsen isn't around, but I'd be happy to do a duet with Priscilla Presley if she's
hey, who wouldn't? Apparently Elvis didn't after she had a baby, though. That was like off limits. It was very odd.
Yeah, he had a sort of strange attitude to those matters, I understand.
If that's the word you want to use for it. First, you know what? I want to get to your book, but I saw some comments you made on Hugh Hewitt's show. I saw them because I didn't hear it. I saw them on his blog. And you made some statements about Newt Gingrich, which I found interesting, and I read them earlier, so I won't read them again. But you used the term dismayed, or that it is dismaying to you that Gingrich would be the Republican frontrunner and eventually, potentially, the nominee.
Yeah, I think the nomination process failed last time round when John McCain wound up as the nominee, and I think it's heading for failure this time round. I'm speaking to you from my home in New Hampshire. Now,
right, and you're not even an American citizen. Let's just be very clear on this. So you only get half of an opinion.
I'm just a foreign interloper, so you can take this as a view from the rest of the planet. But in my state of New Hampshire, the one reason we like the primary is it's all supposed to be about, swinging by local diners and county fairs and the annual pancake breakfast and all this kind of thing. And we know all the cliches. The woman who tells the Washington Post and New York Times every 4 years, I don't want to dance. I won't vote for any candidate I haven't danced with at least 3 times. None of that happened this time around. Instead, we've had some new TV debate every 48 hours on sometimes on cable channels none of us had ever heard of till they hosted a presidential debate, and the result is that there's been no retail politics, and Newt Gingrich brilliantly, in my view, who would have been terrible at shaking hands in the diner and doing all that kind of stuff, through the debates, has emerged as the front runner. But I think this is the worst of all worlds for Republicans. He's someone whose inclinations, he has a big progressive, big government streak. He's like sort of Teddy Roosevelt mixed with some sort of novelty-crazed futurologist. He has a big government progressivism inside him, yet combined with a reputation as some kind of ruthless right-wing extremist. So in other words, although he spent much he sits next to Nancy Pelosi on the video saying he's all hot for big climate change, big government solutions, yet he gets damned as a right-wing madman. So we're going to get the worst of all worlds. The right is going to wind up with a candidate who is in fact a pushover for the Beltway insider, big government progressive types, but yet will be easily demonized by the media as a right-wing extremist. So we're looking at 2008 all over again.
But Mark, you're underestimating that he's such a golly gee whiz great debater. And apparently that's critically important that we have Atticus Finch as our candidate.
Well,
You know what I think we should do? This guy Clement, who the Texas Attorney General says he's the best advocate in the country, that he's making the anti-Obama case. Cuccinelli and the folks hired him to appear before the Supreme Court. Maybe we should nominate. I don't care what his politics are, as long as he's a good debater.
Well, no, the thing is, I think debating is overrated generally. I must say that, and you're a guy who makes his living with words. I'm a guy who makes his living with words. And I think anybody who's in that field understands at some basic level that guys who can do stuff are better. Winston Churchill, when he formed his war cabinet in 1940, said he wanted 5 men who ran actual departments. He didn't want a lot of think tanky egghead types who just sit around the cabinet table thinking big thoughts all day long. And I think, I'm not a big Rick Perry fan, but in a strange way, I think it actually speaks quite well for him that he's not that. I mean, I'm not looking for a Herman Cain, a guy who, when you ask him about Libya or Syria, he has to think twice to remember which hemisphere they're in. I think this is, I think it's, I think you want, but I do think this idea that you can come on like Newt and you just use all these the same adverbs, extraordinarily, compellingly, profoundly. He's got like 5 or 6 adverbs that he uses all the time, and people think he's Cicero. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah, but I'm not comfortable criticizing the guy using parts of speech. Just can't do this, Mark. So my theory is Newt's out by February 1st. He's exposed for who he is, whether you want to blame it on the liberal media or George W. Bush or the turning of the tides or whatever it is. Newt's gone. Who's left?
Well, I think that's where it gets very interesting. I mean, let's say it doesn't happen like that. Let's say Newt wins New Hampshire and does okay in imagine if, say, Newt wins South Carolina and Florida. Then you've got all the big primaries are in the South. You know better than me. I'm not persuaded Mitt Romney, if he's had a bad run in those first 4 states, is going to be looking to the old South as his core, as his firewall, as his base. I mean, this may be like last time round, where John McCain winds up winning against a weak Mitt Romney by default, but is a hopeless general election candidate.
Well, and particularly if you look at in 2008, Romney was out February 6th. That was a month before we even got to vote in Texas. I mean, the Deep South didn't even get to vote. The true red states, the reddest of the red states, didn't have it. We had Huckabee limping along. Ron Paul was still in the race, and basically McCain was knighted by that time. So we didn't get a choice.
No, and I remember being actually at CPAC in Washington following Mitt Romney's. Mitt Romney gave his speech announcing he was stepping out of the race, and I was the kind of next guy in and responding to it as graciously as one could. But what was interesting is that John McCain accepted the fact that he was then the nominee by default. But the reality is, if we get suckered again this time, the fate of the Republic is
in grave danger. Mark, can you hold with me?
I'd love to.
I want to talk about this book, After America, he's written. A frightening concept, why he wrote it, what it stands for, and the rest of the Republican field with Mark Steyn coming up.